Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our next DES race here in the NextGen cars. This is our championship finale here at Homestead-Miami. These guys are going to have a very interesting race. It's going to be a fun one. They're going to have to battle track conditions as well as cars on the track. We're going to have an amazing time doing this one. I am joined by my producer, Damon O'Brien. He's going to be handling all the controls. I am your broadcaster, Edwin Warren. I'm going to be doing a little bit of talking for you. And our most analytical broadcaster here, we've got Hunter Davis. Hunter Davis, how are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing fantastic, Edwin. Looking forward to this race tonight. Homestead's a pretty fun track. It's a good way to wrap up our first next gen season. I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to collect that first championship with DES for the next gens.
Oh, it's going to be an interesting one. Like I said, this track is a very, very slick track. It is known for sliding around no matter what you make the temperature. As we're joined with one of our next gen drivers right now, Mr. Ben Pivot in the number 19. How is it feeling out there? How are you doing?
Well, I only got on like 15 minutes ago, so not too bad, we'll say.
Ben, I saw you out there during that Daytona road course, man, and you absolutely dominated. What's your keys to success to winning this oval here tonight?
I'm just gonna watch, see how other people drive the course, and then maybe use some of their tips and try win.
You're one of our playoff drivers, actually, so you're in that battle. How does it feel knowing going in here? I know you're the last place guy in the playoffs right now, but it's a bit of bragging rights to climb some of those positions. Are you going to be looking to do that tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the main thing is to win, end on a high note, end the season on a high note with a win. But yeah, of course I'd like to be higher up for the championship.
Well, awesome, Ben. It was good to interview you. Good to have you up here, and good luck out there tonight.
Thank you, thank you.
And your starting lineup for tonight's race, starting on the pole position, the 68 of Tom Ringer to his outside, the 51 of Jonathan Green. Starting in third, you got the 69 of Todd Perrant, the number 5 of Brandon Hitton to his outside. Starting in fifth position, you got that 67 machine of Charles Connor and the 56 of Mark Holloway. Starting in seventh position, you got the 19 of Ben Pivot and the 63 of Craig Knowles starting in eighth. Starting in ninth, the 59 of Matthew Tennant, and to his outside in 10th, the 48 of Max Dindo. Starting in 11th position, you got the 1 of Gary Bergeron and the 43 of Hunter Cox to his outside. Starting in 13th, you got the 40 of Ben Kuhn to his outside, the 20 of Marcus Wisniewski. In 15th position, you got the 4 of Chuck Burley to his outside, and 16th, you got the 23 of Thomas Long. And wrapping up your field for tonight's race, you got the 86 of Zach Reipel starting in P17.
That is a strong starting lineup. And Tom Ringer, he's the guy currently as the points leader. The guy he's trying to beat by 2 points has been Brandon Hinton, who is starting P4. Brandon Hinton's going to be on that outside line. We did kind of see that the outside line was kind of the stronger line. So, but, and then you got Jonathan Green in front of him. And Jonathan Green last week at Kansas, he was very strong on that outside.
Yeah, looking up here at these top guys, you got the 68 Ringer you just talked about. He's currently leading our points battle into the finale. The 5 of Brandon Hinton is 2 points behind him, starting in P4. I look forward to seeing how this one's going to play out for those guys.
I believe that top four is going to be really strong. I know they're all going to be trying to do the same thing. They want to save their tires, especially Tom Ringer since he's leading the points, and Brandon Hinton's so close behind him with 2 points behind. And then you got Zachary Reipel. He's at 85 points. He's still in this. If Tom Ringer or Brandon Hinton have that kind of any issue, Zach Reipel, Craig Knoll, Christian Clark, Mark Holloway, and even Todd Perron all back into this to win this championship.
Yeah, looking at Brandon and Tom, they've kind of checked out from the rest of the field. Got a 20-point lead on the rest of the field, but P3 through 6 right there is all within a 5-point differential. I look forward to seeing those guys battling it out. See who can claim that third place spot.
Yeah, the front two got to make sure they don't have an early race exit. Early race exit is going to be the worst thing they could have. And cold tires, these cars could snap on cold tires real bad.
Yeah, that's one thing about Homestead, and that I like about Homestead so much is that it's a multi-groove track. So you can run the bottom, you can run the middle, you can run the top, but it all depends on how much you want to burn off those tires. So the bottom line is going to be your safest way around, and you're not going to really scuff the tires as much. But as we're coming to take the green flag, the pace car pulls off. The 68 is going to lead the field to the green flag.
Flagman holds up that green flag and he gets to waving it. They are green. Tom Ringer gets a nice car length amount jump, but Jonathan Green is coming right back on that outside. Everybody's holding good. 3 wide from the 19 early on. He's making passes as already.
Yeah, you look at Brandon Hinton there, the 19 takes it 3 wide. He pulls to the outside and he says, I don't want any part of that.
Oh, yeah, he straight up said, I don't want to be near that. I don't want to get dicey. As the 51 gets into the wall, a lot of those guys who are on the top side get into the wall. The 19's one of the only ones who doesn't. But he's kind of pinched between Todd Perrant and the 51 right now. Tom Ringer's trying to check out.
Yeah, one thing about these next-gen cars, man, is they do got a lot more power than the trucks and the Xfinity. So rolling that top line, you do have to either check up a little bit or slightly drag the brake on entry just to be able to rotate that corner. You can't really wide open it all the way around.
Oh, yeah, and the 51, he's trying to track back down into this as the 69 gets underneath the 67. He wants to go for a pass. I think those guys who are on the bottom are focusing on tire saving while those ones on the top are, oh, they're getting together. The 69 off.
Looks like we're staying green for right now. Looks like he's going to be able to gather it up, get it back on the track.
It's like one car incident. That's going to hurt Tom Ringer in his championship pursuit. Like I said, early exits, bad idea. Todd Perrant, that's going to really hurt him in that points battle because he is still battling at least to get to P3.
Yeah, one thing that's going to be interesting tonight is these guys got 1 set of tires in the car and 3 on the wall in the pits. How are they going to be able to conserve these tires for so much? I've went out there and I've turned plenty of laps on Homestead. I've won some races here. You can burn those tires off in about 15 laps if you're not careful. So let's see how these guys are able to strategize and keep them under control.
Oh, I'm a master at burning up tires, and this track is one of the hardest ones for me. I find it very difficult to turn more than 20 laps here. I don't even think I've ever finished a race because I just burn up my material so bad I get an early exit from the races. The 19 has caught the 68, and he is trying to go for that pass right now.
Yeah, that 19's shown a lot of speed tonight. As looking back through the field, we got a lot of 2 wide race in the 48 of Max Denda looking to the outside of Mark Holloway. 42 looking to get in there, get a little bit of 3 wide action going on.
19 sends it into the corner. Now, this is an interesting situation. Do you think one of them is burning up material while the other's saving as the 19 gets a little loose on exit?
I mean, yeah, it's still a little too early to tell. They have pulled about a 1-second gap to P3. I think Tom, rightfully so, let him by. Let's not burn up our stuff too early. We need to extend these tire runs as long as we can.
Winning's nice, and I think Tom Ringer knows winning is nice as he's got 3 wins on the season. But at the same time, he knows that championship win is going to feel even sweeter. So, yeah, probably the smartest move to let the 19 by. But one thing I do want to point out, creeping back into the image just a little bit, not a lot, is that 51 of Jonathan Green. He's trying to play spoiler tonight.
Yeah, I think that Tom definitely wants to race for the win, and when it comes down to it, he will. But the real car that he's racing is that 5 car, Brandon Hinton, sitting in 5th. Looking at his car, it looks like he does already have a little bit of front-end damage. I wonder how this is going to affect the drive of the car.
Well, based off where they're currently running right now, Tom Ringer would be the championship winner. I mean, just based off of positions, he would, based off of points. Now, if Brandon Hinton can get at least 2 positions in front of him and possibly even a lap lead, then he would have something to battle with. Right now, he's just kind of on the outskirts. He's just being patient, probably biding his time.
Yeah, and with the way we got our next gen series set up, we don't run any stage breaks, so there are no stage points. There are no additional points for laps led or most laps led. So it's all going to come down to how hard these guys fight it out for track position.
Tom Ringer's just kind of settling into a groove. He's trying to prepare himself for next season at least. You know, next season there will be a stage break. They are going to be starting next week. So that's going to be some exciting stuff to watch, watching these guys get right back at it. Hopefully have a very, very good points battle.
Yeah, I look forward to these upcoming changes, right? Is this league is constantly evolving and developing, right, to suit the drivers and what provides the most intense racing, right? So we're starting off our Xfinity series and our Truck Legacy and Premier series this weekend. Due to the finale of the Homestead being this weekend, we're going to start the next gens the following week. So the next gens will be 1 week off.
So right there, I just watched the 19 get loose off exit, and he slid down about 2 lanes on the straightaway. I think he might have burnt his material a bit. I mean, he's really having to fight that car right now, and that's allowing Tom Ringer to get a little closer.
Yeah, it seems like most of our front runners are pretty much settled out. Looking back to like P9, 10, 11, and 12, those guys are still running side by side.
As the 43, he's trying to get underneath the 63 of Craig Knoll back there. They're still battling back there around P6, 7, you know, as Craig Knoll gets past, Max Dinda gets passed by Craig Knoll. So they are still being very decisive back there. That group is right on top of each other.
A little bit of 3 wide. Who's going to back out first?
These guys have to be really careful. They do not want to cost themselves here today. They want to make sure that they make it to the end of this race. A lot of championship guys here. Making it even to P3 or gaining 1 position in it is such a benefit.
Yeah, one thing I'm looking at right now is, you know, your front 5 are pretty much single filed out. After that, you know, they're all side by side racing. Those guys are going to be burning up their stuff, struggling to try to catch back up and close this gap.
You know, one guy I'm very surprised by, he has a lot of bad luck. You know, he gets caught up in a lot of things. But Charles Connor, he is sitting pretty in P4. I know we're only 13 laps into this race, and he's currently under attack by that number 5 machine. But he is kind of just settling in his groove. He wants to make sure he makes it to the end. He's trying to end this race on a nice, consistent high note going into next season.
Yeah, if you look at them, right, and one thing that I talked about earlier is that this track is a multi-groove track. You see guys running the bottom, you see guys up next to the fence, in the middle of the track. That's what's so cool about Homestead and a good place to finish it. Oh, as the 48 clips the wall. Looks like guys are going to move around to avoid them.
A lot of cars spreading out to avoid that. Gary Bergeron is one of those cars who moved down. That beautiful number 1 machine. I love the design of that number on it. It just looks so amazing every time I see it.
So, what do you think? I'm personally, I'm a wall rider here. This is my track where I like to stay up next to the fence. I will burn my stuff up, but that's usually the quickest way around this track. What's your preference here?
So I'm actually terrified of the wall. At every track, I'm terrified of the wall. So I would be a low middle line kind of driver, kind of where Gary's running his car and where the 73 Craig Knoll is. That's where I want to be. You know, good drive into the corner. Yes, I sacrifice the exit, but if I get a good enough drive in, I could be in front of that car and I don't have to worry about them battling back on me.
Yeah, looking at the 19 of Ben Pivot, who's just up on your screen. He's pulled up to a 1 second gap over second place of Tom Ringer, and then another second back to Jonathan Green. Those top 3 have checked out almost 3 seconds over the rest of the field.
Oh, yeah, Jonathan Green, like I said, this is a guy that definitely needs to be watched, especially when we go into the new season. He came into the season about halfway through. He didn't run the full season. But now he's going to have a full season to reset himself. But I talked to him a little bit before the race. He does get a little nerve-wracked when he's around some people towards the front, and you can't blame him for that. I've done that before. We've all been there, getting a little nervous when you're around the front of the field towards the end of the race, like last week at Kansas.
Yeah, if you look up to the 5 car of Brandon Hinton or the 67 of Charles Connor, these guys have been battling it out for P4 for about 6 or 7 laps here. These guys are not giving an inch yet, not letting up.
And that's not what Brandon Hinton wants, because he knows that's going to cost him tire. That's going to make him wear down to where he loses pace, and these leaders are going to check out even more as he finally clears him. But can he pull away from him? He's about a car length ahead now.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, looking at the nose of that 5 car, you can see it's a little dented in. I wonder how that's affecting the aerodynamic pulling down the pulling down the front stretch here.
As he's got the 67 pulling back on him, Brandon Hinton, he is a top side guy, and I know he didn't want to have to go down there, but it's kind of where he's been. He's going to have to just try and manage as much as he can. The 67 is getting a little wobbly on that top side too, so he might be really feeling the stress. 73 catching them too.
Yeah, it looks like the 5 is going to be able to clear him as we enter into turn 3. It's looking good for the 5. He wants to kind of set himself out, get himself a little bit of breathing room. However, now he's got a 4.5-second gap to P3.
And that number 5 car, he is a TRN driver. He will be solidified as a TRN driver coming into next season. So it's real nice to see him running good. But those Rat Fink guys, Tom Ringer, Chuck Burley, Todd Perrant, all of them are insanely strong. So they're definitely gonna have their work cut out for them going into this new season. Tom Ringer's really trying to just maintain position right now, as Jonathan Green kind of caught him a bit.
Yeah, if you're in that 68 machine, the biggest thing that you're looking at is you need to stay within 1 position of Brandon Hinton. He's got currently a 2-point lead over Brandon Hinton, so as long as he maintains that 1 position, he should theoretically win the championship. We don't have drop races factored into the points that we had brought up early, so there may be a few curveballs thrown in there, but it's looking pretty settled out from here on out.
So Tom Ringer is being caught by Jonathan Green. I feel like Jonathan Green is going to make the pass. Now, here's where Tom Ringer has kind of a saving grace. The 67 got back past Brandon Hinton. So that's going to keep him in that position gap, like you said. That's what's making him, get a little lucky here, as also the 5's under threat from the 73. So you've got the top 2 championship contenders both under threat from another car of losing position.
Yeah, the biggest thing right now is going to be the lead car of the 68, right? He's going to be, as we got a caution out.
We got a caution. What brought out our caution here today?
The 48 of Max Denda looks like he got a little bit of loose.
Yeah, the 48, he was running around P7-ish, and it looks like he just kind of lost it going into the corner maybe. Let's take a look at the replay and see if we can really see it. We might have to go back even further. He really messed up.
I think it's going to be this upcoming lap. It looks like on corner exit, he's probably just getting into the throttle a little bit too quick, and it snaps that rear end around.
Yeah, he was out there running by himself entering into turn 1. So if we can get back to when he was entering into turn 1, you'll see that he maybe kind of throttled it up because he felt like he didn't have enough pace. And then there he goes. He just snaps himself and just loses it.
Yep, a little too much throttle. If you keep watching right here, I think he also gets... Yeah, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're good.
It looks like right up here, he also gets a little loose again, and it snaps into the grass.
He cleared the whole track. He went all the way up to the wall, and then that's enough to throw a caution. It's the car stopped on the racing surface. As everybody hits pit road, they want to get fresh tires on there. They want to get back out there and battle some more, as Jonathan Green doesn't beat Charles Connor out of the pits. Tom Ringer in the pits for a long time. He's beat out by a lot of people.
Yeah, some of these guys, looks like the 5 stuck in there getting some front end damage repair. I think a lot of these guys that have made contact with the wall earlier on in these laps probably getting some of that damage repaired.
Now, this is going to work out well for Todd Perrant as well. He started this race and went 2 laps down because of that early incident, but now he's 1 lap down. So now Tom Ringer, Brandon Hinton, they're going to be looking to battle. They're both going to be in traffic. Zachary Reichel's kind of been towards the back of the field, and he's sitting P3 in points. Craig Knoll was making some advancements. Christian Clark, unfortunately, is not here today. And then Mark Holloway, he's been kind of mired in the back. We haven't talked about him much today, but now he's got a chance to do something. So it's looking like a very interesting points battle starting to develop here on lap 24.
Looking at the 19 of Ben Pivot and the 43 of Hunter Cox, they did not pit. They both elected to stay out. The first car on fresh tires is that 51 of Jonathan Green.
This is going to be interesting. We get to see where tires stack up. Now, we already know tires fall off very fast here. But how much will these two fall off?
Seeing that we're about 25 laps in, I think you're going to see a pretty significant difference in lap times, depending upon how hard these guys behind them push.
Now, I'm pretty sure they're just trying to go for the long game. They want to save an extra set of tires for towards the end of the race to, get up there and battle back on everybody. So this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, if I'm that 19 or the 43, as soon as this restart happens, I'm looking to get up there to the top. That's going to be their only way of competing and holding speed with the guys on fresher tires is holding that top line.
That is true, especially with the 2 guys right behind him. Those guys are topside runners, okay? They both like the top side. And Craig Knoll's also out there. And Crosby in the 73, he's also out there. He is a topside runner. So Craig Knoll's also back there. So it's an interesting time as we drop the green flag. Ooh, 19 jumping up as soon as possible.
42 is going to roll the bottom. 19 back down to the bottom. Let's see how they dice it out once we come off exit of 2.
So Hunter Cox is running the number 43 Smurf paint scheme. It's a very nice paint scheme made by our producer here. We love seeing that thing turn around the track. Beautiful blue color, beautiful machine. His vehicle did not have the right number on it. So our broadcaster had to put a paint scheme on it that did reflect his correct number. He had a 42 on his car. He needs the 43. So he is going to be rolling around in the Smurf machine.
Hey, I'm a little dyslexic every now and then too, so it happens.
Yes, sir. It happens from everybody. But surprisingly, this is the surprising part. Those old tires are holding up. Those guys have not been passed.
Yeah, I mean, we're only 2 laps into this run, so wait until we get, 10, 15 laps into this run and those guys really start feeling the fall off of those tires. Now, they were running at the back, so who knows? They could have been back there just falling off pace, letting the tires save in, hoping that a caution would come out, and maybe this played into their favor.
Oh, Tom Ringer gets loose on the inside. He's still wobbling around. He was there on the 51, but 51 is now caught the 43. 43 is going to move up top, try and take his lane away. He's going to try and make sure he keeps himself there running P2.
Yeah, with how close these cars are together, you could throw a blanket over these guys and they'd all be covered.
And they're still fighting hard as the 5 car is way further back than the 68. He's got to get to him. I know he's got a long race. I know it's a long race. But the longer you spend this far behind him, the harder it is to catch up to him.
Yeah, and that's where I think we would differ, right? If I'm in the 5's position, my goal right now is to slowly pass cars but save tires. The 51 is getting into the wall.
Yeah, and I definitely understand. Oh, a lot of cars into the wall. Everybody hit the wall there pretty much on the exit of turn 4 as the 51's going to try and go sail around that outside to get around the 43. I think he got a little excited, got to him, and was like, oh, I can make this pass, and didn't pay attention to the corner as much as he should have.
Yeah, for those that are watching that have never been to Homestead or watched Homestead racing, on that exit of 4 right there, there's where the banking changes to where it's flat on the front stretch is a very sharp change in banking, and it'll sometimes snap the rear end of the car if you hit that wrong.
Yeah, it's right at that shadow mark on the exit of turn 4, so that's something to definitely keep an eye on. It's not like that in 1 and 2, but it is definitely like that. It's more gracious in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, it's abrupt. as the 51's now going to try and get to the outside. He's got Tom Ringer behind him. He wants to kind of stay in front of that guy to battle for this race win.
Yeah, it looks like he's having some internet connectivity issues. We got a couple guys. Oh, as some cars get really loose on the exit.
43 way down. They got it. They got it. You were right. They saved it.
Good job on him keeping that together and not pulling back up in front of the field.
Now that hurts Hunter Cox a lot, though. You know, he 67's now loose. He's not saving it. He's going around. Yellow flag out.
You got the 67 of Charles Connor looping it around there on the backstretch.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and watch that review.
This looks great. This must be yours. I found it on the kitchen table.
Thanks.
Mommy, have you seen my hamster?
Well, isn't he asleep in his cage?
Have you seen my hamster then?
No.
Well, Tiny, go upstairs and look thoroughly. I mean, sure. Probably behind the bed, like where you found him last time.
Okay.
And we're back live after that quick commercial break. Taking a look at the replay of the 67. Looks like they're through 1 and 2. He broke it a little bit loose, tried to recover it, staying out of people's way. He wasn't able to stabilize it, ends up looping it around. Looks like mostly everybody else had minimal damage. You saw one car there trying to avoid getting to the wall a little bit, but good job on that 67 of keeping it out of the field.
The car that got into the wall was the 5 car of Brandon Hinton. He's having a tough fight out here.
Under that commercial, we did have a lot of guys cycle in through pits, assumably to get some damage repaired from contact with the wall. It looks like the 68 of Tom Ringer is back out in the lead.
And that's exactly where he wanted to be, as he's got, honestly, this is going to sound crazy. He's got the most help he could ever ask for. You've got the 56, who is a Rat Fink driver. He will be solidified as one next season. Chuck Burley, a current Rat Fink driver who will be returning to them. He's got the outside and inside of people who are on his team. Now, obviously, they're not going to block for him. They're not going to do anything like that because these guys are upstanding people. But he knows they're going to race him clean, and he knows that they understand what he's going through right now. So he's got a little bit of advantage right now.
Absolutely. As the pace car enters turn 3, about ready to drop off to take the green flag, you got the 68 of Tom Ringer restarting in first position, the 56 to his outside, the 4 starting in P3, the 63 of Craig Knoll to his outside, and you get the 1 of Gary Bergeron rounding off your top 5. As the pace car pulls in, let's get back to some green flag racing. .68 with a huge jump over the field. He's going to go to the outside, try to carry the momentum to the bottom to roll off exit.
Yeah, the 68's holding true. As we got a caution out immediately. Why do we have a caution out immediately? Something else has went down on that restart.
Let's take a look at the 67 of Charles Connor or the 19 of Ben Pivot. They were both looped around there in turn number 1. Looks like the 86 kind of checked up a little bit on corner entry so we could roll the corner. The 19 wasn't prepared for that, and looks like he got into the back of him, tried to avoid him, and then made contact with the 23.
Yeah, it kind of looked like the 19 was trying to sail in that corner like how he did on lap 1. He was trying to make passes right away, and it wasn't enough space for him, and he gets into Thomas Long, and it was on from there. He gets into Charles Connor, takes him out too.
Gets a little love tap from the 20 there at the end. Hopefully minimal damage. 67 is definitely going to have to be using a fast repair here. He definitely solidified a lot of damage. But other than that, it looks like most of the cars came out fairly unscathed.
Yeah, they definitely had a good avoidance there from the 20.
We're cycling through some pit stops here. We're going to pull in the number 48 of Max Dinda for a little mid-race interview. Max, how's it going out there?
Good, good. Yeah, it's going decent right now.
I saw you out there fighting the car for multiple laps before you ended up inevitably looping it around there on the backstretch. Is the track pretty slick, or is the tires just falling away quicker than expected?
Yeah, so like 5 laps earlier, I was coming out of turn 2, and I had a snap, and I hit the wall, and it gave me really bad wheel damage. So ever since then, I was trying to fight it to keep it straight. So it just eventually broke loose, and I tried, but the wheel damage was too bad, I feel like.
Did that give you some kind of lessons learned about how to continue this track, how to pay attention to how the car falls off? Are you going to be racing a little bit different out there?
Yeah, for sure. You want to really take care of the tires. So the bottom will be better for that. Hopefully, I'll do a better job of taking care of my stuff than everybody else. I'm going to get a decently long green flag run here to see if that proves to be true. But I'll try my best to save my equipment and move my way up to the front.
Max Dinda running P10th. Thank you for the interview. As we start to double file up, looks like we're getting ready to take the green flag as the pace cars entering into turn number 3.
It's going to be Tom Ringer leading the way with Mark Holloway P2, Chuck Burley P3, Craig Knoll P4, and then right behind him he's got Gary Bergeson also in P5. So that's your top 5, and we're ready to get back to racing.
The pace car's in. We hit the restart zone. The green flag is out. '68 up to a pretty good jump there, entering into turn number 1. 56 is going to get a good run. Try to pull up to his bumper. And just look at these cars fan out once this green flag drops. These guys know that we can run pretty much anywhere here on the track. These guys are using every bit of this track to try to make as many passes as they can.
Oh, yeah, and it's looking like a good race out there already as they're still stacked on top of each other as we got a 3-wide situation. Now, I do want to point out, Ben Pivot is a lap down. So is Matthew Tennant and Charles Connor. So if another caution comes out, those guys, again, are in a race within a race. They want to get that lap back and be able to compete on the lead lap.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking through the field here, we got a lot of side-by-side racing. A couple guys getting loose there off of turn number 4 as we come through the stripe. Look at how just packed up these cars are.
Oh, they're all over each other. But Tom Ringer's using this opportunity as a chance to possibly check out as, again, talking about our top 2 in points. Brandon Hinton sitting in P7.
Looking here at the 56 mark all the way in the fourth, Chuck Burley. 63 trying to make the high line work to get a run up to the back bumper of the 4 as they cross the stripe headed into turn number 1. Yeah, I've noticed that the 63 of Craig Knoll, man, he's been really trying to make some moves there on that top line. He's made some contact with the wall, but if you watch him, if he can keep it out of that wall, he is getting massive runs coming onto the straightaways here.
Oh yeah, and he definitely could tell that the people right in front of him are all Rat Fink drivers. And again, they're not going to block, they're not going to do anything like that, but they're going to run their race. You know, they don't want to cause any issues, and they're going to obviously be careful around each other. So it's going to make the racing a little harder because they're going to be given so much space and can block the whole track as he gets on the inside of the 56 now.
At 56 said, I'm not willing to give it up that quickly as he rolls the top side. He can pull up side by side with the 63 heading into turn number 3.
He is really fighting hard back there as he gets passed back by both of them. He really wants to get back to them, but also look who's up in the P5. Max Dinda, who we just interviewed, is now back up in here, and he is going to try and make his way towards the front as well.
Yeah, these top 5 are trying to check out onto the field. If you look back there, it's your 6th place position of Brandon Hinton leading that second pack of side-by-side racing.
The guy right behind him is Brandon Hinton, who is a lap down. Sorry, Ben Pivot. He is a lap down, but he is up there. The closer he is towards the front and the further away he is from Matthew Tennant, the better. He just cannot get caught in a wreck.
Yeah, he's throwing my signature move out there and putting it to work. He gets a good run there off the top line, pulls to the bottom on the front stretch.
He pulls up to Ben Kuhn. He wants to get around him. He wants to put even more space between him and everybody else.
Looks like most of the field is starting to kind of single file out. Let's hope this will produce some good green flag runs here for us. Kind of interesting to see. I'm not for sure if our original 2 of Hunter Cox and forget the other guy that did not take tires. I'm curious to see if they did end up taking tires under one of these previous yellows.
Oh, they definitely would have had to, as Hunter Cox is sitting down in P8. He just moved up to P8, actually. And it was Ben Pivot, so they definitely got some tires. Everybody's between 23 and 13 laps on their tires. So it would have been a smart move to get tires now, trying to stay out even longer on no tires. That might have turned out problematic.
Yeah, looking at the 19, man, he is just clawing his way through this field, passing the 5th place car. He's trying to unlap himself the old-fashioned way.
That's risk versus reward. The reward is getting your lap back. The risk is burning up your material. Because not only will he have to go past the leader, he has to then circle the whole track and then get back up to him, you know? So that's he's risking a lot right now.
Yeah, these guys know what's on the line right now. We've got the championship finale here. A lot of these drivers are in the playoffs, trying to maintain track position as much as physically possible. So, I mean, we're going to see these guys pushing these cars to the limits to see what we can do.
Looks like Tom Ringer and Chuck Burley have settled into their positions. Craig Knoll has settled into P3. The battles are really towards the back of the field, around where Brandon Hinton's currently running, who's in P7. He has fallen back again.
Yeah, right behind him, you got the 57 of Chris Wagner looking to the inside of the 43, trying to make it stick there on the bottom. Let's see if he can clear him coming here on the front stretch.
It seems like the 5 car is being shuffled towards the bottom of the track a lot. And being down there, it's definitely harder to make passes. You can do it on entry, but it's a lot harder to make that pass. And just the momentum they get on the outside is eating him up. He's going to have to eventually change lines, get up there. But he still has over 100 laps left. So maybe he's got something in the back. He's kind of trying to chill, bide his time. 43 gets tapped by the 57, but they're both good. They keep going the right direction.
51 of Jonathan Green looking to the outside of the 48 of Max Denda for the 6th place position. Looks like he's going to get a run here onto the backstretch, possibly able to clear him heading into turn number 3.
Brandon Hinton still sticks to that bottom side as there's a three-way battle right here. So he's going to try and continue to stick to that bottle, preserving those tires, make sure everything's good. As we got the 56 around in front of the field.
Like the 56 is involved, the 48's crab walking across the front stretch right now. He's got some pretty significant damage.
Look like 56 got loot. Oh, he touched the apron and snapped the car up. Caught the 40, got hit by the 48, and then the 69 just trying to avoid by going to the bottom, still ran into the car.
I know that feeling of having your hood block your view. That happened to me last weekend at New Hampshire. That's not a fun situation to be in.
Oh, yeah, that creates a real big problem. You just can't see. You don't know what you're doing. You're trying to stay away from people, and it just is not working.
So, pretty significant damage for the 56 and the 48. We are now lap 54 of 150. And we're going to step away to a quick commercial break.
Ship my pants? Right here? Ship my pants, you're kidding.
You can ship your pants right here.
You hear that? I can ship my pants for free.
Wow, I just may ship my pants.
Yeah, ship your pants. Billy, you can ship your pants too.
I can't wait to ship my pants, Dad.
I just shipped my pants, and it's very convenient.
Very convenient.
I just shipped my drawers.
I just shipped my nightie.
I just shipped my bed.
If you can't find what you're looking for in store, we'll find it at Kmart.com right now and ship it to you for free.
And welcome back after that quick commercial break. Looks like we might have had a couple of cars stay out. 63 of Craig Knoll, 51 of Jonathan Green, sitting P1 and 2. Your previous leader and current points leader, the 68 of Tom Ringer in 3rd. Chuck Burley in the 4 car coming out in P4, and the 40 of Ben Kuhn sitting in 5th.
Ben Kuhn actually is going to take himself down pit road. I think he's having a late pit stop right now. Also, another great thing to mention, right behind Chuck Burley is that number 5. So our championship battle is going to heat up a little bit more right here because those guys are going to be right near each other.
Yeah, you know, we keep talking about the 68 and the 5, but I just want to emphasize that these guys are 2 points away from each other in the championship race. It all comes down to who can finish first, who can finish third and fifth, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and you got another championship contender who hasn't been towards the front much today, but Zachary Reichel is up there, and he is starting P6. He is in front of those 2 guys. Yes, he's 20 points out, but those guys are in the middle of traffic, okay? So if those guys get caught up in something and he checks out on the field, he could potentially be your championship here today. It's a tough battle out there for them. I don't know how I could manage the nerves that these guys are feeling.
Yeah, believe it or not, we have 19 cars on the track right now. So if you have somebody that is, let's say, 20 points out that finishes first, and you got a guy that finishes last, well, you're getting close to that 20-point differential. As the pace car pulls off, the 63 pulling us to the restart zone to take the green flag.
And he gets an amazing jump over the 51, but the 51 also gets an amazing jump over the 20. You know, so those two are looking to already spread themselves out right now.
We got a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing back through the pack.
43 is trying to take it 3 wide a little bit. Doesn't actually get there. He actually maintains a 2 wide position. But now you got the 68 on the bottom, the 43 shuffler on the top. He's going to take the 4 3 wide with the 5 car. And both get by clean.
Yeah, these guys are starting to realize how important track position is here. It's hard to make passes without using your equipment.
And, you know, now these guys can see each other. Now Brandon Hinton can see the car he has to beat. So he knows where he's got to get to. So as the 19 taps the 48.
We got a lot of good racing going back there. Still some 2 and 2 wide there at the back.
43 is going to try and challenge the 68. He really wants to get there. As the 68 is also trying to pass the 23. But the 43's got to really pay attention. He's got Marcus Wisniewski right there all over his back bumper.
At the 86 of Zach Reichel on the high side of some 3 wide action. Looks like he scrubbed the wall a little bit. Going to lose a little bit of speed, maybe a couple positions. Hopefully not too much damage for him.
You know, we're concentrating so much on this middle of the field, but if you look back towards the leaders, they are all on top of each other. Lead change, Chris Wagner to the front. A big wreck in the back. 48 sideways. 1 car off into the apron. This is just not Max Dinda's day. He has been caught up in the last 3 cautions, if I remember correctly.
It's Homestead for you.
Looks like it just keeps coming down for him. Keeps going. As he gets loose, Bob's gets hit by the 4 car. 1 car avoids him. Hits the 59 as well. So we got 3 cars involved. The 4 car, 48, and 59.
Well, now that we have a new race leader, that 57 of Chris Wagner, let's see what he can do up there.
And the cautions are definitely helping these guys save tires. They had a very limited amount. I mean, realistically, if you had to do 4 tire changes or 3 tire changes in this race, you would have had to go 50 laps on each set of tires. So these cautions are helping them stretch out these tires, keep them cool, keep them from destroying themselves, as Chris Wagner actually leads the field down pit road.
So to an extent, I agree with you, but the heat cycles are what's also going to affect them, right? They do heat their tires up as they push these cars around, but the constant heat cycles on the car will cause them to burn.
That is true. Too many cautions could be a problem, but these cautions where they're getting a nice couple laps in and then taking a break, you know, I kind of think that might be helping them. What do you think? I know for me, in my personal experience, it helps me. But, you know, you're more analytical, you're smarter about your tires. Do you think it's actually preserving them more?
I mean, to an extent, yeah. So me personally, you know, I'm not a short run guy. I can go out there and I can turn a fast lap, you know, for 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 laps. But after you do that, you know, you're just going to burn them up. I'm the kind of guy that I'll lose the position. I'll give up a few positions to save my tires. But when 20, 25 laps comes around, you know, you'll be seeing me blowing by you.
I think that's what helps our broadcast a lot, is you got a guy here, who will give up a position early on, will go the long run, who could turn a tire that's supposed to last 30 laps into one lasting 40 laps. And then you got another guy here, myself, who a tire that's meant to last 30 laps, I'll burn that thing up in 15 because I'm going to push it as hard as possible.
So one thing that will provide a difference, if you look at the 51 and the 23 there on the inside line, they both got 25 laps on their tires. Right behind them, the 20 of Marcus Wisniewski has 29 laps. To his outside, you got Tom Ringer and Hunter Cox with 8 laps on their tires. So pretty significantly fresher tires, depending upon how hard they've been pushing. I look to see that 68 try to get a run there on the high side after we take this restart.
I think what's the most interesting part is everybody on the outside has way less laps on their tires. Everybody on the inside has the more laps on their tires. So that's kind of the interesting part here, to see where these guys end up. So it's going to be interesting. The outside, we know the 5 car is needed to be up there. We know the 51 wants to be up there, but the 68 has been a low line guy this whole race. So they're all outside of their lanes. So it's going to be interesting.
We take the green flag. The 51 gets a pretty good jump heading into turn number 1. Looks like he's going to ride that wall all the way around.
Yeah, he's going to carry that momentum as the 5 car loses some positions on that restart, actually. Oh, we got Thomas Long all the way down into the inside wall.
Looks like he's able to gather it up and save it. He's going to try to safely re-enter back here on the track in turn number 3.
He's going to cut right in front of Todd Perrant.
We got some 3-wide racing with the 68, the 20, and the 73.
Oh, the 19 gets into the 43. 43 goes around. Another caution.
Looking here at our replay, the 19 is going to fall in the center line after they just get out of some 3-wide racing. I think the 43 is going to clip the wall just a little bit, and like just a little bit of a racing incident. You know, the 19 wasn't ready to turn, the 43 was, and that's what happens.
Yeah, it looked like the 19 was planning on running a high middle line or a low high line, and the 43 wanted to run the middle line, and they just came right into each other. You know, it's just part of what happens, as we're going to take a short commercial break here for you guys.
And welcome back after that quick commercial break. As we come here, the pace car lights are off. You got the 51 ready to take the green flag. The 68 of Tom Ringer to his outside. The 20 of Marcus Winooski starting in P3. 73 of John Crosby P4. And that 19 car of Ben Pivot starting in 5th.
Interesting shake up here in the top 5, honestly. You've got some new faces up there. You've got some interesting drivers up there. The 19 is making his way back up. Remember, he was leading early on in this race. But the 20 car, the 73, they're going to be an interesting shakeup to this, as well as the 40 car in P5. That's going to be some very interesting shakeups here.
Yeah, that 20 car, Marcus Wisniewski, has had some pretty good speed here tonight. Looks like he was kind of in the back dodging some stuff, but I'm interested to see what he can do up here in P3 if he can get some clean air.
As he pulls right up to the back bumper. He was trying to get a good jump with him, but doesn't miss it. I mean, he does miss it as much as he could have, but he is going to be the inside of Tom Ringer, so he's going to try and barrel off into that corner to stay in front of him. Has to give up the inside to the 19. 4 wide. That is not what these guys want to see.
Tom Ringer said, take the position. I don't want it.
Tom Ringer's a great tire saver, so he was doing that to prevent his tires from heating up so much. So it's going to be an interesting fight in the front.
Yeah, looking at that 73 of John Crosby. He's trying to slice his dice away in through the field. He pulls to the inside of the 20. Going to try to roll it here on the exit of 2.
Yeah, Crosby's kind of been hanging out towards the front of the top 5, you know. Anything major happens, he has always been there ready to pounce on it. As this 51 goes way up high, and the 68, who got back past the 19, is going to be trying to get that lead.
These guys single filed out pretty quickly. I wonder if they're starting to realize that, hey, we still got we're not even halfway there yet. We still got a lot of racing left to go.
Yeah, a lot of laps to turn, so they definitely want to focus up and kind of get to a point where they're maintaining position. That's what everybody wants, especially long-run guys. They want a good long run. People like the 5. People like Craig Knoll. People like Chris Wagner, like those good long runs. That's what they're waiting to have happen.
Looking here at the 51 of Matthew Tennant roll into the outside around the 19 of Ben Pivot. He's probably going to have the momentum here on exit, clear him, and try to pull up to the back bumper of that 68 machine.
You mean Jonathan Green. He rides the 51. 59 is Matthew Tennant.
We were talking about the dyslexia earlier, you know, sometimes it strikes at the worst times.
Oh, no, I understand. I get those two confused all the time because they use the same kind of font for their numbers, too. So it throws me off all the time.
The 51 of Jonathan Green sliding to the outside of the 19 of Ben Pivot. He's going to be able to clear him here onto the backstretch. Only thing he sees in that front windshield is that 68 of Tom Ringer.
That's who all these guys want to get to, or at least not let get away as the 51 taps the wall a little bit. But he's able to maintain that position.
All right, we're now at lap 74, coming to lap 75. That'll be halfway to the end of this race. What have we learned so far, you know, going from the start of this race to the end? What do you think, Edwin?
In my book, what I've learned is patience on entry to the corner. Patience on entry to the corner. Because if you get in there too high and you want to run the top side, you're hitting the wall. If you get in there too high and you want to run the bottom, you're pushing out of your lane. You're scrubbing off speed. So I honestly, it even extends further than turn 1 or turn 3. Patience in general. Be patient. That's what I'm learning. What about you?
See, I'm the opposite. I've learned corner exit is going to be your most valuable corner here, I guess, in terms of how well can you get back to the throttle without snapping the car loose. How many times have we seen cars exit a corner, snap the rear end around, either sliding across the field or they're chasing it down the track, trying to pull back up?
And speaking on that point you just said, because that's a great lesson, and I think that one's kind of the bigger lesson here. We had mentioned early in the race that exit of turn 4 as the 57 exits turn 2 and darts low, exactly the thing you said. Um, we have we made a note saying the exit of turn 4 was going to be tricky. It's been the most tame one so far. It's kind of seeming like exit of turn 2 is the biggest issue these guys are having. Something about that corner, and they're just breaking them loose.
It's just the differential between the banking. I mean, you see it at tracks like Dover, like Bristol, that has such a steep bank. Oh, see, there it goes again as the 19 car chases the car back down the track. But as I was saying, so you see it at tracks like Dover and Bristol where you have such a steep bank. You pull onto the front stretch and that banking now flattens out. It's where that difference is between, a super steep bank to a completely flat racing surface.
Yeah, it's offsetting the car is pretty bad, and they're being thrown all over the place. I mean, you even see it from one of our fastest guys on track, Ben Pivot. He comes out of that corner, it offsets horribly, and then he's flying down the apron. There's also Ben Kuhn right behind him, just did the same thing. It is a very tough thing exiting the track, exiting the corner.
We're talking about how difficult it is to chase these cars and to wheel these things around, but honestly, these guys are doing a fantastic job here tonight in terms of keeping the cars under control, trying to minimize damage and cautions and all that. These guys are doing an excellent job out there.
Yeah, and I think we just had a bad spell in the middle of the race. The saying goes, caution breeds caution, and I think that's what happened. But they had to break that curse upon the track, and they did it pretty well. They all got single file as soon as possible, and now they've been doing great. And they're going for passes when they can, as the 73 actually passed Ben Pivot. Again, one of our fastest guys on track has now been passed.
I don't think that 73 car is going to give up after the 19 as he looking to the inside of the 51. 51's probably going to get a good run here onto the back stretch. Let's see if the 17 can pull up to his bumper. Correction, the 73.
Now that 5 car is sitting in P6. At this point, if the race was to end right now, championship lost. Do you think he has been holding back all this race?
I don't want to say necessarily holding back, but racing smart, using that racecraft. You don't need to win the race on lap 70 or 81, right? The race is won after lap 150. So I think he's kind of playing it by ear, feeling the car out. He's going to try some different lines, see what works well for him. If you got a car that you're struggling to get around, that's what I'd use for practice. What can I do to move this guy out of his lane or to take a different lane to still complete the same objective of making the pass?
That 73 just made pass for P2. He is in motion towards the front. Where did he come from? Where was he early on? He's kind of, I think he is embodying exactly what you were talking about. He was patient. He used the other cars as practice, and now it's starting to show up. That he's paid attention to the track and his competitors around him, as he is. I think he's going to catch Tom Ringer. He's actually trickling down that lead.
Believe it or not, that 73 car of John Crosby, gridded in P19, is now sitting in second, knocking on the back door of that 68. As we watch the battle for the lead continue, the 73 car is closing that gap now down to 1/10 of a second behind your leader, that 68 car. 73 is going to look to the inside. Let's see if he can pull it off here in turns 1 and 2. He's going to easily clear that 68 car. I think Tom realized that he had the speed. He was pushing hard. Going to give him that position.
So Crosby is definitely battling for the lead right now. He's got a lot of noise in his ears right now, listening to the sound of the motor and things like that. So he is very focused right now. He is trying to pay attention to everything he's doing.
Looking back through the field, it seems like our field is now starting to get a little bit spread out. We got the 43 and the 69 both getting into the wall a little bit. I think that the field spreading out is going to really benefit our green flag runs here.
You know, that 51 car, he has so much speed and he is doing great, but he seems to, every time he gets near cars, that dirty air kind of sends him right into the wall, and that's kind of hurting him. He could be making this pass on Tom Ringer if he was able to stay out of that wall, but every time he gets right near somebody, sends up into the wall.
Yeah, that's one thing about these next-gen cars. They are very aerodynamically dependent, right? So if you do get dirty air off that slipstream of the car in front of you, it definitely will cause your car to get a little bit tighter and then center a corner, which is, I think, what we're seeing when he's making contact with the wall.
And I think Tom Ringer kind of wanted to play it smart. He didn't like that car constantly pulling up to him, and he pulled down towards the end of the straightaway, was like, hey, man, go ahead, take the outside, go right around me. I'm just trying to maintain my position. But now he's only one car in front of Brandon Hinton. The only car separating them is Ben Pivot.
Like I said, you know, a race within a race. That 68 car, the only car that he's racing out there right now, is that 5 car of Brandon Hinton.
And I'm pretty sure he's paying attention to that. You know, he's got the ability to talk to his fellow teammates, and they're probably, if they're near him, they're telling him like, "Hey, man, this is where he's at. So you need to pay attention." So he's definitely paying attention. But the 5 car is under threat by the 1 car of Gary Bergeron, so they could end up 2 positions separating them.
We still got a lot of racing to go. I wouldn't count anybody out just yet.
And that is true. Early on in this race, you know, in my opinion, Tom Ringer, Ben Pivot, you know, they were the strong 2 guys. They were the guys emerging as the major threats in the race. But now we're here past halfway, and neither of them are leading. You've got a whole new guy, Crosby and Green, who are now in 1 and 2. So that's really interesting to see. I think that education Hunter was talking about, learning the track, learning cars around them, is really paying off, because a lot of these guys seem to have figured it out. You know, they're starting to pay attention to what they're doing. They're paying attention to how the track's changing around them, and they're running their laps. You know, Jonathan Green, he's trying to put some distance between him and Tom Ringer. He passed him a few laps ago. Tom Ringer then came back and passed him, and now he's trying to check out from him. I think he's paying attention to that wall as he's actually pulled down from it some. He's not as close to the wall as he was originally.
Yeah, one thing that'll be interesting is I'm not quite for sure how many laps on a set tank of fuel these guys get. But, you know, are we going to need to pit again prior to the end of this race, or are these guys good to go to the end?
Yeah, the fuel part is the most interesting part, because if they don't have a lot of fuel, they might have to pit 1 or 2 times. But if they can make it on 1 more pit stop, they'll be fine. That's what we're looking forward to. We're trying to see if these guys can do it, as the 5 car is holding strong in front of the 1, and he is maintaining that 1
Oh,
car
sorry to cut
gap.
you off. The 23 car into the inside retaining wall there on the backstretch. Looks like he's going to be able to keep it together and safely re-enter on the track.
Looks like a single car spin, so we're not going to have a caution or anything. And it's that same thing you said. Too much throttle on exit. And that's exactly what he did. All running by himself, still did too much throttle on exit, and it sent him.
Yeah, you know, being that this is a simulator, we do get constant updates, how they remap and rework tracks. They just reworked Homestead in the latest patch. And I will say I've turned quite a few laps on here since the rework, and this track has gotten a lot more freer. It's really loose on exit and really tight on entry.
So I went out here and practiced right before this race, and I turned some laps on this track. I even went up near people. It's hard. Getting behind somebody, how loose the car is, it's like you're skating on ice almost out there, and it's tough. And I don't know how these guys are doing it so many consecutive laps. I honestly, if I was in this race, would have made about 15 before I slid into the wall, because I like a tighter car, and this track does not cater to what I like.
Looking at our leader, the 73 of John Crosby is now pulled up to a 2 3/4 second gap to the P2 car, the 51 of Jonathan Green.
He's actually pulling up on another car to put them an additional lap down. He's pulling up on Hunter Cox, who's the guy who likes these kind of tracks, but I think this night has just not been going his way. So he's actually pulling up to him. He's just kind of in coast mode. He's trying to get that first win, starting in P19. That is crazy. That far back, and now he's leading the race.
Yeah, looking at the cockpit view of the 73 of John Crosby, right? Watch as he enters the corner. He's not really going to stall at the wheel. He's going to find a good median there to where he can get the car to rotate, and then he's going to counter steer it off as he gets back in the throttle. You'll watch his RPMs climb. Front stretch, he's going to shift, and then do the same thing here through 1 and 2.
It's almost like he's letting the car move itself. It's starting to slide a bit, and he's just pointing it in the right direction to where it doesn't hurt his tires.
Yeah, you can see right about midway through the corner, he'll drop to about 7,300 RPM, and then he'll jump up to about 74, 75, and then coast it pretty much till the car is straight on exit.
Oh yeah,
Right
he's
there, you
got
see him
good.
slightly get back in. He's back in the throttle, and there you go. He's wide open.
Oh yeah, this is some great car control, and I mean, if you're looking at his miles per hour, he's not changing miles per hour that much. I mean, it's about, in the grand scheme of things on these big tracks, 40 miles per hour of change is it's not as crazy substantial as people might think. As he got a little more sideways there, but that's just a one-time fluke. He's been in the lead for 13 laps, and that's the first time we saw a mistake. That's some good control.
13 laps with a 3-second lead over your new P2 of Tom Ringer.
Yeah, Tom Ringer got back in P2, and he also checked out by almost a second. He's about 7/10 in front of Jonathan Green. So he's having a good moment. He's now put 2 cars between him and Brandon Hinton. Because Brandon Hinton's got kind of a freight train forming behind him. One of them is Thomas Long, who is 2 laps down, but he's still got those cars right near him. So he is worried about that. He doesn't want to have those people coming in and making his gap even bigger. But at the same time, he wants to continue running his laps. He wants to continue doing what he needs to as he's passed by Gary Bergeron.
Yeah, Thomas Long is on a little bit fresher tires after that spin. He did come down, probably use a fast repair, grab a new set of tires. I think that we've just got a lot of hard racing out here. These guys realize that, what stakes are on the line. This is the first ever DES NextGen Championship, right? So you got to put your name up there, and you'll be the first ever for this DES iRacing series.
Now, Craig Knoll and Todd Perrant just got into it just kind of a little bit right there. Both hit the wall. They're the next cars under threat to go down a lap. As, like you were saying, the first person to win this championship, we are bringing trophies to DES. And if hope I'm remembering this correctly, but I think the Next Gen champion does get a trophy. So that's a bit of bragging rights right there to be able to hoist a trophy, and say, hey, I won this championship in this competitive league. I won the championship. It's going to be great.
Speaking of DES, if you are interested in racing with us, we run the Next Gen Series Friday nights starting at 8 o'clock. We got the ARCA Series just starting up a new series, and the new ARCA car is starting at 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. We run the Truck Series at 8 p.m. on Saturday with a Premier Truck Series at 10 p.m. Saturday, Xfinity Sunday, 8 p.m. If you're interested in hopping out here on the track with us, you can head on over to racedes.com and hop in our Discord, chat with us, turn some laps with us. Looking forward to racing with you guys.
The biggest benefit of that is, us here at DES, we like to compete as well as broadcast. So if you do come join DES, you can participate in the Next Gen, have it broadcast by me and Hunter Davis and produced by Damon O'Brien. If you hop in the truck race, you can race with me. The Premier League, you can race with Hunter Davis again. And then Xfinity Series, you can race with both of us in that, because I will be making select starts in that too. So it's a great time. You got a voice to the car, and we will have a great time out there. 19 car hit pit road.
So he's starting to cycle through. I wonder if these guys are not good on fuel to the end. I wonder if they need one more stop. Let's see if anybody else is going to follow him down.
He was shaking it as he was coming down pit road. He was shaking that car. Now remember, when this last caution happened, we had guys with 8 laps on their tires and guys with 20 plus. So there is a difference in things right now, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens if we do have to do pit stops as our leaders continue on track. They have not hit pit road yet.
The 63 car of Craig Knoll also hit the pits. 19 making a 4-tire stop.
Crosby still on track with his beautiful lead. It is almost 4 seconds now. He is building on that lead.
Oh, as we got a car around there on the front stretch.
And that brings out of a caution. That is
the
maybe
43 car of Hunter Cox. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. He's been having a tough day. He's a very competitive guy. We race with him in the other leagues here at DES. He's a competitive guy, and I know he is kicking himself right now. He is mad that he just spun out.
Yeah, looking through the replay right here as he's entering turn number 3, running that bottom line. I have a feeling we're going to see the same thing right there. As soon as you get back to the throttle, gets a little bit loose, tries to get back in it, just can't recover.
Yeah, it looks like he crossed over that seam between the low line and the middle line while he was trying to throttle it up, kicked the right rear out, sent him down to the apron, which is always a recipe for disaster, and sent him all the way around. As Tom Ringer is on pit road now.
I think we're going to see a lot of things change around. You got the 68 of Tom Ringer in P10. You got Brandon Hinton running in 4th.
Whoa, what is happening on caution lap right now?
Looks like we might have had a little accident. These guys do not have spotters under yellow. They may have not known that he wasn't clear, came down the track. Not quite for sure, but we're going to cycle through some yellow flag pit stops here and get back to green flag racing.
Here's my question. Tom Ringer pitted before these leaders did. Was he pitting on a closed pit or was he pitting on an open pit? That's the confusion right here, because if it's a closed pit, he's going all the way back of the longest line. If it was open, he might cycle through to our front.
So what I think happened is I think Tom Ringer was on pit road when the caution came out. He was just exiting the pits. He hadn't gone a lap down yet. Right now, he is currently being scored in 11th position, the last car on the lead lap. You got the 5 of Brandon Hinton in P4. That's over your 2-point differential for this championship. This is going to shake things up, Edwin.
Oh, yeah, this is going to shake it up real bad, and there's still about 40 laps to go. Once we go green, there's going to be 40 laps to go. So Tom Ringer has got a lot to do to catch up to that because he just put himself out of the championship right now. He's got to get up there.
Yeah, looking at our playoff series for the NextGen points, you got Tom Ringer currently at 107 points. He's being, according to iRacing, he is being scored in 13th. The first car 1 lap down. Brandon Hinton, P2, 2 points behind Tom Ringer. That is 2 positions behind him. And look at him being scored in P3.
Now,
Zach,
go ahead.
Sorry, I was saying Zach Reichel, your 3rd place car, is currently sitting in P9.
Here's where the interesting part comes in. If he scored a lap down and a caution comes out immediately and he's in front of Matthew Tennant, he is back on the lead lap and then the race is on. But that's the risk versus reward because you talk about tires and burning up your materials. Do you burn it up now if you're that far behind?
There's 42 laps left. As the lights on the pace car are off, we're about to take the green flag. If this stays green the entire way, the only thing that 5 car wants to see is the green flag.
And I'll tell you this right now, the first 2 people right there the 73 and the 51, have never won a DES race their entire time here. So as we're about to take the green, those guys are looking to get their first win.
The pace car is off. Green flag is out. The 73 of John Crosby getting a good jump, pulling to the high side as we head here into turn number 1.
Now, he's going to be tough to beat. He is a very fast car. He's going to be very hard to beat.
Now, you know, if I'm in these guys' shoes and I know we have 41 laps to go, I'm not going to full send this just yet. I'm going to give myself 20, 25, maybe even 30 laps before I give it everything that I have left.
And Jonathan Green has moved up even higher on the wall. He's gotten closer to that wall. He needs to be careful. You've got 40 laps left. Pay attention to what you're doing. Don't hit that wall. Don't use up your material. As Tom Ringer is in front of Matthew Tennant, he is hoping and praying for a caution right now.
Yeah, being the first car a lap down, I mean, unfortunately, that's a part of racing. He cycled in through his green flag pit stop, and due to him being there in the pits when they closed, it is going to score him 1 lap down. Now, Tom Ringer does have some speed. He knows who he's racing. The only thing he needs to do is to pass that lead car to get his lap back. We got a good battle going on here for the lead. The 73 car of John Crosby looking to the inside of the 51 of Matthew Tennant. Jonathan Green.
There you go.
Their numbers are similar, you know, it throws me off.
Yeah, it's the same font. Throws me off every time, too. And honestly, the 5 cars drop back to P4. He knows, I mean, Tom Ringer could still win this if he was a lap down. If Brandon Hinton drops all the way back to P12, Tom Ringer could still potentially win this thing. So he's got to make sure that he keeps cars between them, as he has given up another position going down to P5.
I mean, absolutely, like we talked about earlier, you know, he's racing for those 2 points. As long as he can stay 3 cars in front of that 68, theoretically, he should claim the championship. Now, like I said, those points that we saw earlier do not have drop races factored in. So there may be a little bit of a shakeup when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of 1 to 2 points.
Another thing to point out now where we're at in this race, as our laps are trickling down, and I think this is valuable to talk about. Top 3, Gary Bergeron has gotten up there, and he is now running P3. None of those guys have won a single race in DES, so they're all looking for that first one. You and me, Hunter, in the last season claimed our first DES win. How good would it feel to get that?
Oh, you know, I mean, it's fantastic. You know, these guys out here on the track, they may make it look easy, but battling around these guys is such a feat to complete. You know, racing with some of the best that this league has to offer. It's crazy to see, you know, and to get that first DES win.
Oh, yeah, and talking about first DES wins, mine came over a very serious competitor, a guy who I was scared to race against, and yours came over another guy who is known to be very fast and wins multiple races and is a very intimidating threat. So these guys, yes, it's those 3 sitting there, but they also got Ben Pivot there, who's a multi-time winner. You got Brandon Hinton behind them, who's also a winner. I mean, Chuck Burley is also a winner. Marcus Wisniewski, Todd Perrant, they've all won races. So they know those guys know how to get around the track, and they know those guys know how to make it to the end.
All I'm saying is we're here at Homestead-Miami Speedway for the championship finale of the Next Gen. I can tell you these gloves are coming off here tonight.
I just hope they don't come off too soon, because if they come off now, again, cautions breed cautions, especially towards the end of the race, as the 19 puts a block on the 1 car there.
Yeah, right behind them, you got the 5 and the 68. 68 of Tom Ringer trying to battle his way up through the field, possibly to try to unlap himself the old-fashioned way.
Now, he's done the right thing. He's put a real gap between him and the next car lap down. So if that caution does come out, especially since he's on the track pretty much by himself. Yeah, Chuck Burley's there, but he's about 5-6 car lengths behind him. If a caution came out, he's not at any kind of risk of hitting anything or causing any kind of problems to take away his lucky dog.
Yeah, and ultimately that's the only thing he needs to be concerned with is he's got to get this lap back. It's going to be very difficult for him to win this championship with the 5 of Brandon Hitton sitting in P5 and the 68 of Ringer sitting in 13th.
I'm surprised about the shakeup we got here. This is going to be an interesting race. The second, third, and fourth. Throw a blanket over those guys. They are battling hard for that position. Oh, the 19 into the wall.
He's going to be able to keep it together and still stay side by side with that 51 car. He's going to try to roll the outside. Looks like the 51 is going to get a really good drive into the corner, be able to easily clear him. As the 19 is going to try to cross him up, pulling here onto the front stretch.
That's one of the first times I've seen the 51 go towards the bottom all race long. But now he's back into his groove. He's going right back to the top side. He's going to try and carry that momentum. I think the 19 scrubbed the wall again because now the 51's back up there to him.
Yeah, these guys are starting to the 51 into the wall a little bit. These guys are starting to realize that this race is slowly ticking down as we're going to come to 30 to go.
Now, I know when we get towards the end of the race, they want to get up to that 73, but that 73 is in cruise control mode. He's seeing in his rearview mirror these guys throwing down for this position. He's seeing how they're battling hard as even the 5 car is starting to pull up to them. So he's preserving his stuff. He's running a casual line, and when it comes time to kick it into high gear, he's going to have the material ready to do it.
Keep an eye on that time scorer right there. The 19 just pulled another 10th on that 73 car through 3 and 4.
Yeah, that 19 is really trying to work his way up there, but we did see in the long run that 73 was a whole nother animal. I mean, in that long run, he was like a second behind the leader, caught the leader, and put 4 seconds on him. That's a guy who knows how to drive a car in the long run.
Yeah, looking back through the field, everybody's got a decent amount of distance between them. I'm hoping we're going to stay green here till the end.
And that's definitely what these guys are planning, as we've had some guys exit the race. Unfortunately, tonight we've had Hunter Cox, Max Dinda, and Charles Connor all have to exit the race due to damage and due to the situations brought on for them. But they had good runs. Max, he was towards the front. Hunter Cox, he was towards the front. Charles Connor was even towards the front. So it's very unfortunate to see those guys out of here. As the 19 wiggles there on the exit, allowing the 51 to get back to his outside, as the 73 now has a second lead on them.
Yeah, the more these guys battle it out, the more room it's going to give that 73 car to pull away.
19 into the wall again. That's going to allow the 1 car to get closer to him. And the 51's now going to try and check out. He's going to try and solidify himself in either P2 or try and chase down the leader.
Looking back at the 56 of Mark Holloway and the 20 of Marcus Wisniewski battling it out for position number 7 as they cross the stripe right here.
Now, Marcus was a guy you called out for having speed tonight, and, you know, I think he was a long-run guy because now he's starting to work his way back up, because at one point after you said he had good speed, he dropped down around P15, and now he's worked his way back up.
Well, if you look, I didn't really pay attention at the beginning of the run, but a lot of guys will start at the bottom for the beginning of the run. Once tires start to wear, they'll move up to the top. I think that 20 car has been pretty much riding the wall for most of this race. So I have a feeling during those shorter runs, right, the guys with fresher tires on the bottom are going to prevail.
He's getting up towards that number 56 car. So he is working his way up there. He's trying to gain some more positions, trying to give himself some nice momentum leading into the next season or the races leading into this weekend, which, by the way, this weekend we have Trucks and Xfinity hitting the track on Daytona. So that's going to be an interesting one to have go down too.
Daytona is always a fun, week starter or season starter for DES. I was so stoked last season when we ran our Xfinity cars here. For an 80-lap race, we had 1 caution for an 80-lap race.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely insane. And I love super speedway racing. It's one of my favorite things. My one of the things that I found DES on is I did a little exhibition race with them after I was recruited by somebody, and just the way these guys run at Daytona, the way these guys run at every track is amazing. And if you watch our little intro videos at the start of the video, you can see my number 19 go flipping down the front straightaway, and it's a fun time, man. It was my fault, but it was a fun race before I did that.
Now, if you want to see that 19 car flip, sorry, now 92 car flip in real action, you can head on over to racedes.com and hop in with us.
It'll probably happen.
Looking here at our leader. The 51 car is trying to run down that 73 of John Crosby. He's got a 1.7 second deficit to run him down, and we are now closing at 20 to go.
Now, these guys are desperate for cautions. I mean, we even heard Todd Perrant in the number 69. He said, "Where's Reckham Warren when you need him?" So they're desperate for a caution to come out. You know, Tom Ringer's still hoping for that. He's definitely put the gap that he needs to for it, but he is definitely hoping for that. As Craig Knoll, who is another fast guy early on in this race, he's 2 laps down. So they are one. Oh, the 19 hits the wall. He's into the inside wall and damages that car. That's probably going to be a caution right there. Let's see if one comes out, and it does. That might be an end to his night.
Any strategy that you had planned out for these next 20 laps, go ahead and throw that on out the window because it don't matter no more.
Oh, it's gone. It's gone now. But the question is, does Crosby pit?
So, looking at this, right? You have 20 laps to go. If I have a set of tires left, I'm taking them.
Oh, 100%. If anybody was not paying attention and they used all 3 sets or thought that they could go green to the end, getting those tires is going to be such an advantage. Here's a replay of the number 19. He gets into the corner, pitches it in hard. He's running a nice top line, and just, I'm not even seeing him really get loose. There he goes. Too much throttle on exit.
Hard impact to that inside safer barrier. Ooh, 68 of Tom Ringer was coming there quick on the outside. Good job of that 19 car. Keep it down there onto the apron and off the racing surface.
The great thing about that number 19 is he saw that car coming and snatched the wheel to the left. So that's great. As they hit pit road, 73 goes down, but look who stayed out. Tom Ringer. He's on track. Oh, he's getting his lap back. Who was that? He just hit the wall. Did you catch that, Hunter? Who might have that been? There he is, right there.
I saw that, but I couldn't get a good glimpse of what the number was.
I couldn't really tell who it was. There he is, right there. Ooh. Who is that?
This is the 20 cars requesting a black flag clear for passing under yellow due to wrecked caution or wrecked traffic. It looks like it might have been the 19 of Ben Pivot. Looking at that car, it looks like maybe the hood has popped up. Sometimes those things don't render whenever you're watching them from the outside looking in. Maybe he had the hood popped up and he just couldn't see.
I'm taking a look here, trying to see who it could have potentially been.
It's the 19 car. So,
I cannot figure out who it was that hit that wall.
it was
Oh,
the
it was
19
number 19. My bad.
So, looking to shake things up a little bit, you have some guys that stayed out on older tires. Looks like the top 4 did not pit. You got the 4 Chuck Burley, the 56 of Mark Holloway, the 86 of Zach Reichel, 57 of Chris Wagner. Have 25 laps on their tires. First car on newer tires, the 73 of John Crosby. But the point that we're looking at right here, you got the 68 of Tom Ringer, P12. Number 5, Brandon Hinton, P8. That is 4 positions that separate your 2 contenders that have a chance to win this championship.
I feel like it's going to come right down to this. This is where it's going to matter. As the green flag comes out, the 4-car, 56 car get a nice jump. They're going to try and get in motion. They want to sneak a win here today. Crosby getting to the inside.
4-car off to a good lead. The 56 looking to pull up to his bumper. Let's see how these newer tires prevail.
73, he's already trying to gain momentum. He's up to P4. He's going to be looking to the inside of Zachary Reichel and that number 86, another fast driver who was mired in the back, and now he's up front battling in contention. Tom Ringer's closing in on the 5.
I was just about to say, as the 68 goes 3 wide there on exit of turn number 4.
Now, those guys are going to be battling hard. 1 car separates them, and it's literally the 1 car separates those 2.
Yeah, these guys still got a lot of racing to left, and I think they realize it as we're coming to 15 to go.
Jonathan Green, he's making his way up the field, too. He really wants to put himself in contention to win this race. He is not giving up on that top side. He is back up there. And look at the momentum from Jonathan Green. Gets the 86, gets the 56, as Crosby's also moved into P2, chasing down Chuck Burley.
That's those fresher tires for you. The 86 and the 56 both stayed out and did not pit. They are on probably 30-lap-old tires right now, while Chuck Burley has maybe 4.
There's now a 2nd car in between Brandon Hinton and Tom Ringer, as Tom Ringer's also trying to go for another position. The 73 moves up the track. He almost gets into the back of the 4.
Yeah, it's definitely going to cost him.
Do you think Chuck Burley can hang on to this?
There's still a lot of racing left to go. You're starting to see those fresher tires move back up there to the front. That 73 has got really good short run speed if he can make the pass cleanly.
But then again, you also got to remember the 51 has great short run speed as well, especially on that top line, as they both are catching the 4 car. Now, it really is going to probably boil down to which lane the 4 car chooses when they get to him. If they can split him right down the middle, then the battle continues in them. But whoever gets stopped by him is going to have the harder time.
Yeah, looking at these guys battling it out, I don't even think they're concerned with where the 4 car is going to run. They're just trying to get around each other.
Brandon Hinton has moved himself into P4. He is climbing positions. I think he was saving it, like you said, as the 51 gives the 4 car a nice little tap in the rear end saying, hey, man, get out of the way. And they split him down the middle.
51's going to get a huge run here off of turn number 2 onto the backstretch. Don't think he's going to be able to clear the 73, entering into 3 and 4. Let's see if the 73 can stay side by side with him.
This is a very dicey battle for the lead, and they've got to do this for over 20 laps if they want to continue on, as the 4 car gets loose.
Good job, Chuck Burley, keeping that car straight and on the track.
That must have been a scary moment for Brandon Hinton, because that was right next to him. If Chuck Burley was not a driver capable of controlling his vehicle, he probably would have came up and hit him.
Oh, absolutely. That was definitely a good recovery. You know, good job on those guys behind him. The 1 of Gary Bergeron, the 40 of Ben Kuhn, just monitoring, having that race vision to be able to avoid that wreck.
Tom Ringer is separated by 2 cars right now, so they're right in the window for either a tie or something. It's gonna be very interesting when it comes down to it on who's gonna be the one who wins this championship. And again, just like you said, this still does not include their drop races.
Yeah, this is going to become a very close battle. As we're 3 wide, the 20 of Marcus Wisniewski is going to clear the 86 and the 4.
He's also going to continue moving on as the 4 car is dropping even further back. He's even being passed by guys who stayed out with him. So it is not going in his favor right now, as Crosby is to a half-second lead over Jonathan Green now.
As we have 9 to go, you got the 73 of John Crosby, the 51 of Jonathan Green, 5 of Brandon Hinton, the 1 of Gary Bergeron, and the 40 of Ben Kuhn, rounding out your top 5.
You know, when we've raced Crosby before in the exhibition ARCA races and everything that was going over in the last 4 weeks, he's a very strong driver. He's very consistent, and it's showing today. He might nab the win here today as long as he can keep the car pointing in the right direction. But we got to keep an eye on as well. Brandon Hinton and Tom Ringer, they have a massive gap between them now. It's almost 4 seconds of space between those two.
Yeah, they're definitely going to cut it down here to the wire now. We got some good, clean racing back here in the packs. Looks like the 86 of Zach Reichel is going to get the inside of the 56. Try to take away that position, entering into turns number 1 and 2.
56 trying to pull up on the 86. He wants to get back past him, as they've also got the 63 coming into their battle right now. Both into the wall.
These guys realize that this race is slowly coming to an end. They're trying to gain and claw for as many positions as they can.
He's trying to work his way more towards the front, as Brandon Hinton, he wants to give himself as much as a buffer as he can. He's trying to chase down Jonathan Green. He wants to get up there, and he wants to get past him. This is a tough situation here. He's going to have to pick his lane carefully, but I think he's going to continue going to the bottom. That's where he's been strong at. That's where he likes to run. So that's where he's going to stick to.
Yeah, looking at this, Brandon Hinton is now knocking on that rear bumper, the 51 of Jonathan Green. I think he realizes that we're more than likely going to stay green to the end. Let's start clawing away for as many positions. He needs to set as big of a gap of that 68 car as he can.
That pass right there is going to help him out so much more than if he was to stay behind him. So he's really going to try to, but he's got to also pay attention. If he overdoes it and over pushes, he's going to have that 1 car breathing down his neck as he's close by him right now.
So I just did some quick little math, and if everybody finishes, our playoff contenders finish where they are right now, Brandon Hinton will finish with a 4-point lead to include drop races. So Tom is definitely going to need to pick up that pace, see if he can get as many positions as he can.
And that's definitely what he's probably thinking about, but he's kind of in a real bad spot, as, you know, he's got Marcus Wisniewski, who caught him and passed him, who's now in front of him. So he's having a bit of a trouble right now. I think maybe he got some damage or something that has killed his speed, but he's got to get a move on. This is a nail biter. You know, we got a new first-time winner trying to get, a first-time guy trying to get his first win leading this race. You've got Brandon Hinton trying to be the first next-gen champion right now, and the gap is so small. This reminds me of Carl Edwards versus Tony Stewart when they tied for points. You know, in the NASCAR, at that time, it was Sprint Cup Series. This is kind of reminding me of that. You know, it's a nail biter. We don't know who's going to take it until the race is over.
Absolutely, and with 2 laps to go, I can promise you this race is nearing the end, but it is far from over.
This is when the pushing starts, you know, with Brandon Hinton. He's got to stay safe this whole time. Tom Ringer's got to get past Wisniewski right now. He's got to make that pass.
The hard part about that is if he can pass Wisniewski for P6, he is then 5.5 seconds up to P5.
And as they take the white flag, this is where it ends. You know, the next flag ends the race no matter what. So they've got to do what they can now. Tom Ringer goes all the way to the outside. He scrubs the wall. He's not going to get to Marcus Wisniewski.
Everybody enters turns 3 and 4 for the last time. 73 on exit of 4 is going to keep it under control and win the Homestead-Miami.
He's going to lock up his first ever win. Jonathan Green with his highest position finishing ever. And then Brandon Hinton's going to come by P3 unofficially, your next-gen champion.
Yeah, Edwin, that was some awesome racing out here tonight. I think everybody kind of, once we settled into a groove, everybody kind of got ironed out. We produced some pretty good green flag runs.
That was amazing racing. Honestly, John Crosby, who out of nowhere until the later half of the race appeared as a strong running driver. Tom Ringer was powerhouse of the race, and it just did not go the way he wanted to. That was an amazing race. Nail biter, toes curling. It was crazy.
Look at our winner, the 73, burning it down up there on the stripe at Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Let's see if Brandon Hinton also joins in some burnouts, as he is now the winner of this championship. We're going to try and get some people in here to interview, as Brandon Hinton is your third place guy. Well done to these guys, man. I loved every second of this race.
Yeah, that was an awesome finish. And, we had quite a few shakeups in there.
We're going to grab our second place finisher first. Jonathan Green, tell us how that race went for you, man.
Well, I actually felt like it went pretty good. I was surprised. I really felt like when I started practice, I was going to run the bottom and just didn't feel like I had any speed. And I started running the top, and I feel like that worked for me.
Yeah, we were watching you out there, and you were one of the guys that was pretty much riding the wall for most of your laps around here. That was an awesome. This is your, from what Edwin's saying, this is your highest finish in a DES race, man. How does that feel?
Oh, it feels pretty good. The last week I tried and didn't get there, and this time I got a podium. So super happy. Hopefully we can build on this and get some better finishes.
Jonathan Green, do you think this is going to be good momentum heading into the next gen season? Are you thinking that it's going to be an amazing race for you?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is just build on this momentum and keep going, and come out next time and just put some good finishes together.
Well, Jonathan Green, congratulations on your second place finish, man. That was an awesome performance. Seeing you and John battle it out there again. I look forward to racing with you these upcoming races, and good luck in your upcoming season.
Thank you.
Brandon Hinton with the third place finish and unofficial next gen champion. How does it feel?
Feels outstanding. Wasn't sure I wanted that caution. I had Tom a lap down, and then didn't know what his situation was. He must have pitted when the caution came out, but he was fast. But we got lucky and got up front and stayed there. Finally figured it out. It took me half the race to finally figure it out and get in a rhythm, and it paid off. So it's awesome.
So Brandon Hinton, early in the race, you had some damage happen on your nose, and I believe it happened on lap 2 or 3. Did that get in your head or anything like that, or were you just like, let me focus, let me bury my head and do what I got to do?
Well, luckily, it was lap 2 or 3, so it was lucky it was early. It was only about 20 some seconds of optional, so I just went in and lost the track position, but had plenty of time to get it back. Dodged a couple wrecks So, but yeah, lucky it was early and I was able to fight back and get that fixed and then get going again.
Yeah, as we were watching, it seemed like you had a really good long run car on the short run. You know, you may lose a couple positions off the restart, but once we get 20, 30 laps in the run, right, you're clawing back at that rear bumper, man. That was awesome. I mean, what were your biggest factors to figuring out this track? What helped you secure that second place finish? Third place finish, sorry.
Yeah, it was just like I wasn't in rhythm, and I'm usually someone who will lose a couple of positions on a restart early and just kind of ride and then pick them off as the run goes because I just don't want to burn my stuff up. If somebody wants to go, they can go. So I don't know, like you don't know if it's going to be a long run, caution, caution, caution. So I always kind of err on the long run side and just take care of my stuff and then try and get it back one by one and do it that way. That just seems to be my style that works. So
Yeah, Brandon, it was so much fun watching you turn laps out there. You know, it was a bit of nerve-wracking sometimes. You were mired back and then watching you battle back, man. Congratulations on the P3 finish. Congrats on the unofficial championship until we factor in points. Well done on everything you did.
absolutely. And I'd like to thank you guys, my TNR teammates, all the support that I get from you guys, and DES for putting on a great league. Without you guys, this doesn't happen. So I want to say thanks for putting on all the leagues and all the broadcasts that you guys do and all the hard work that you guys put into it. Really appreciate it and glad to be a part of it.
Well, Brandon Hinton, your second place finisher, unofficial championships leader. Let's see if we can get our race winner in here, the 73 of John Crosby. John Crosby, first place finisher here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. How does it feel to get your first DES win?
It was fun. It was pretty cool.
John, you were knocking on the door of winning some of those ARCA races we were doing, other stuff we were doing. You were always there at the front. I mean, realistically, how does it feel to finally break through and nab that checkered flag?
It's about time. No, it's you're hunting for it and hunting for it and hunting for it and just finally get there and you're happy about it. I've been knocking on it and finally got there.
John, producer Demon here. You know, I this is the reason I invited you. Unfortunately, you can't make it.
Right.
That's some clean, beautiful racing, man. I like to see in the league.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was awesome to watch you. You know, you had a very fast car. Seemed like you had a very good short run car. You know, you were putting down some lap times that we were up here like, whoa, you know, is he burning up his stuff? Is he just cruising? What's going on here?
You know, it's really weird. I found the bottom to work out really well, and I don't know why it did. I never run the bottom, but the first like 50 laps, I was like, man, this is actually working. So, but yeah, this super stoked that it worked.
Well, man, congratulations on your first DES race win. I've been in your shoes before. We've all been there. It's an amazing time to nab that first win. You weren't there in the front at the beginning, but you dang sure made your way there to the front towards the end, and you stayed there. Congrats on that win.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And thank you for putting this on. It's a real treat. So I appreciate it.
John Crosby starting P19, finishing first, your race winner. Congrats, Jonathan, and good luck on the upcoming season.
Thank you guys.
So, you know, Hunter, I thought this was an amazing race. I can't wait to see what the next season brings.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this was a good way to cap off our first ever NextGen series. Looking forward to seeing the trucks and the Xfinity and the NextGen starting back up. We got a lot of new drivers that are coming into the league. So once again, if you're interested in racing with us, head on over to racedescom, hop in the Discord, chat with us. Other than that, we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. See you next time. See ya.